I'm a musician, avid gardener, and lover of slow down culture. So the pandemic sort of ushered this in a little bit, right? But more people are gardening and bird watching and trying their hand at reupholstering furniture, and it's kind of seeping into our television viewing habits too, right? So things like The Great British Baking Show, a little bit slower, a little bit gentler, popular as ever. We've also seen this resurgence in personalities like Julia Child again and Bob Ross again, and I wonder, is it because our lives have always been so fueled by anxiety and the hustle that sometimes we just need the so we're seeking out the TV and the people that help facilitate the a little bit? I mean, maybe it's just a few people baking cakes together, or maybe it's just a person broiling a chicken, maybe it's just a dude painting pictures, but what if all those just does are the types of things connecting us to our humanity? And that by slowing down and receiving these images, we're honoring our natural proclivities, our innate humanness. And what if we applied these same principles to children's television today? So it's kind of a time when we did that, right? When collectively we saw value in having our tiny little humans watch other humans do stuff. Build stuff, make stuff, say stuff, sing stuff, feel stuff. Because there's always been the cutesy and the fluffy stuff and the hey kids, and kids know the difference. So for me, that would have been like the Snorks. I remember the Snorks as a kid. Also, the Get Along Gang. I think I just watched that one for the theme song. Best theme song in cartoon history, the Get Along Gang. And also the Shirt Tails. Now the Shirt Tails were this gaggle of animated woodland creatures that wore t-shirts with funny sayings on them. Long before that was a trend in the early aughts. So less take me drunk, I'm home, and more like be nice. But that was the cartoon stuff. That was the let's throw a lesson in at the end just to say we did stuff. But I tell you, when I got to Sesame Street, I was home. Maria had this beautiful skin and kind of this black, fluffy, puffy hair, like all of us Carla Mustos do. We're off the boat Italian and Lebanese. She's Puerto Rican. All I knew is she had our hair. Mr. Hooper's store may as well have been the In-N-Out party store on Ann Arbor Trail by my house growing up. Kind of gritty, sort of newspaper tumbleweeds. David, who worked at Mr. Hooper's store, had this fast-paced banter with the kids, kind of sarcastic at times, kind of like how my dad would joke around with us. And the children themselves on Sesame Street, they weren't child actors. They had baby hairs coming out of their ponytails like I did, and gaps in their teeth, scuff marks all over their shoes. I felt seen. And the thing is, Sesame Street wasn't the only one. We were out in the backyard hunting for toads like the folks from 3-2-1 Contact, and out on the playground it was, hey you guys! Electric Company before Goonies. But lest we relegate this to an exercise and get off my Lawnian nostalgia from our perpetually disgruntled Gen X, I contend it's much more about if it ain't broke. Ask a parent of young children today and we'll tell you, you're hard-pressed to find a regular old human in a regular old relatable community in children's television today. And as it turns out, we've got the research to back us up on that. The number of humans in children's television are dwindling. Fewer and fewer every year, even though we know children are more likely to retain pro-social behaviors. Things like empathy and teamwork from people. And before we say, oh, but that's all they want are cartoons, kids today, well, let's be clear. Children haven't changed. Children are the same children who have ever childrened. We're changing everything for them, and we don't get to say, but it's their favorite, when that's almost all they're being given. So we have research telling us that children are missing out on the opportunity to see themselves within the media they consume. They're missing that human perspective. And as it turns out, they're also kind of getting one perspective. The vast majority of content creators and 80% of children's television directors are men. I love men. I married a man. He's so smart and funny, you'd love him, but 80%. So within that one limited perspective, we're further limiting the perspective because the vast majority of familial depictions are of the middle class. When 20% of children live in poverty, only 2% of children's television programming depicts any such economic diversity. Are children feeling seen today? And do we need facts and figures and research to tell us it's important to provide that opportunity for children to connect with other humans via the media they consume? How else do we know? Well, generations of little ones are now big ones. What are they saying? What's stuck? Google it, ask Jeeves, take a survey, media roundup, folks in the know, newspaper headlines, best children's television since the invention of television itself. And what are you going to find? First namers like LeVar, last namers like Rogers, nicknamers like the science guy. People. You're going to see people on those lists. How else do we know? Because the original Steve from Blue's Clues hopped on Instagram last year to say, hey, and an entire generation openly wept. They felt seen all over again. They felt that connection all over again. So quick story, when my twins were 2.5, they're 6 now, but when they were just little dinkerdoodles, I'd been a fastidious student of screen time experts. So no screen time before a certain age, limited screen time after a certain age, and they really hadn't had much at all, but Mama needed a shower. The struggle is real. And I wondered, to whom may I pass the baton for like 4 minutes while I get the mom shower? The mom shower. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So I fired up the home screen of my favorite streaming service and I went to the kids page, which was interesting because the grown-up page, my page, had 4,792 subgenres. Comedy, drama, dramedy, rom-com, little more rom than com, little more com than rom. And the kids page was kids. And it looked like a unicorn puked all over the screen. I mean, there were colors, and there were sounds, and there were quick, flashy edits. Nothing on the screen for more than a second or two at a time. Little girl lost interest and toddled away. Little boy got cranky and didn't quite know what to do with it. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? Telling these little cherubs who are making these beautiful discoveries and connections to and about the world around them every moment of every day, and instructing them to put it all on ice in order to passively consume this media that bears little resemblance to their already amazing little lives. I was flummoxed by the clear messaging that young children are wholly incapable of perceiving nuance, depth, emotion, subtle humor. Further flummoxed by the pervasive theme of awesomeness, epicness, best day ever. I mean, that's a lot of pressure for a kid. I want you to think about the smart, sensitive, complicated little kid that you were. You knew that sometimes a day was just a day, right? So I turned it off, I didn't get my shower. I did, however, send away for the Mr. Rogers DVD box set, so all was right with the world once more. But later that night, I fired up the old home screen again, and I found something for me. It was a documentary on representation in the media. It was in one of my 4,792 subgenres. And in this documentary, Oprah comes on the screen, and she said something that spoke to me in such a big way, I'll never forget it. She said, when you see images that are reflective of your own life, it's a reminder to you that your life matters. And if that's true, I think that it is, could we be asking just a little bit more from children's television today to provide one corner of the landscape for not to be just different, but to be better? One little respite to validate, elevate, and celebrate the dynamic enoughness of our children's realities and communities. Because now more than ever, they need to be reminded that they matter. Thank you.